So asking about thyroid. You're saying I have hypothyroidism. Do you get depression with yours as it's the opposite of mine? Your heartbeat too fast, mine beat low. Your body producing too much of the thyroid hormone mine gets. Well, I have Graves' disease, so sometimes I'll have hyperthyroid and sometimes I'll be hypothyroid. But whether with hyper or hypo, I find that I experience depression with both of them, especially hypo. With hypo, I feel really depressed, and oftentimes, if you feel like really depressed, it's because the thyroid level for me has recently changed and it takes a while for the medications to set in, or I'm not on the correct dosage. But no matter what, there's always this amount of depression that you have to find some means, ways, and methods to cope with. You have to give yourself mind breaks, like you have to be delusional. Mentally, just take yourself somewhere to escape your current reality. Close your eyes and tell yourself that you're somewhere else living your best life. And if you can hold that thought for even 15 minutes, it does elevate your mood and it changes things a lot. Um, for me, my problem is rapid heartbeat. Like last year, my heartbeat was from last year to this year, my heartbeat has been a challenge to manage. So much so to the point where the doctors thought I was having heart failure. At one point, it started at that too, because there was some issues with my arteries and all of that. But thank God it has healed miraculously on its own, and my heart medication, they have increased the dosage now. So I'm not having that problem with the palpitating heart and the irregular heartbeat as I once used to. But what I'm dealing with now is like chronic insomnia, and I have chronic anxiety. And the anxiety that I have, it mimics all the signs and symptoms of heart attack. And at first, it was very scary. It was one of the scariest things ever because I had no idea what I was experiencing. It felt like there was doom upon me. Like I would be told something about my health 3 years ago, and with anxiety, it would just have me worried about that thing from 3 years ago, worried to the point where I was just trembling nonstop. And as someone who lives alone and has to go through that on a daily basis, you can understand how hard it is to deal with that. And I don't watch TV. I'm not a TV person. I'll watch documentaries and stuff, but I'm not a TV person. And when the anxiety attack starts, if I go into the shower, to bathe, I felt like I could not breathe. Just to take a shower, I felt like I could not breathe. I remember when it first started, like I would turn on the shower, get wet, and the moment I started applying soap, lathering on the soap, I would have to rush out the shower. It felt like I was out of breath and I couldn't breathe. But what I would do, I would go in front of the mirror, put my face close to it, and I realized that I could breathe. So I realized that it was just all psychological, my mind playing tricks on me. So I would tough out that moment, like literally tough it out. And the anxiety, it made me feel as though I was having heart attacks sometimes, because I would have this radiating pain in my shoulder that goes down to my arm, with the pressure in my chest, the shortness of breath. I remember one day I was walking to the pharmacy. The pharmacy is about maybe a 5 to 10 minute walk, depending on the speed. And by the time I got to the pharmacy, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating. A lot of things was going on with me. And then I rushed out the pharmacy to go to a doctor's office that was next door. And when they put me on the bed, I told them the bed was spinning. They said the bed is not spinning. And I told the doctor that I was not breathing, feel like I was going to pass out. And he checked and he said, your oxygen level is quite fine, but your heart rate is not. My heart was 160 something, which that was terribly high. And he said, yeah, you definitely need to go to the hospital. And I had called a taxi, so the taxi came quick. And I had signs of hypoglycemia. So the hypoglycemia sign and symptoms is that of a person who is diabetic. And I'm not diabetic, but when you have medical anxiety, because the anxiety is caused from the Graves' disease, it does a lot to you. So I felt nauseous, felt like I haven't had anything to eat all day. And when I was in the pharmacy and I felt the nausea, I bought Gravol. So by the time I got to UE, it was about a 20-minute drive. The nausea eased a bit. But when they checked my heart rate was just so rapid. So I was at UE for 2 days on cardiac monitoring. And then before that, I was taking 5 milligrams of propanolol 2 times a day. So for the day, I was taking 20 milligrams of propanolol, and I was taking 20 milligrams of neomercazole 3 times a day. So I'm still taking 20 milligrams of neomercazole 3 times a day. But as it relates to the heart medication, they had to increase it to save my heart. So from 20 milligrams of propanolol to 120. So ever since then, I don't have that problem that I used to have with my heart. And the anxiety attacks, they would make me have feelings around my heart, like there's a hair socket in my heart, bubbles around my heart, pressure on my chest. I did an echocardiogram, and the echocardiogram revealed just a little thing, which I would not mention because it's not something that I like to talk about. It's not, anything to consider bad, but you still don't want to hear that. But, outside of that, I don't need any other medication for my heart, just to keep my heart rhythm normal. My heart rhythm is normal. I have normal blood pressure, but thyroid disease is challenging to manage, and sometimes I have no appetite. Sometimes I will eat down the entire place, but I have to take, if you can get a good bottle of multivitamins like geritol and selenium, that also helps too. And I start walking 10 miles a day at least 3 times each week. Try to get outside and connect with nature as much as possible. Sit under a tree, walk barefoot as much as possible. Just try to connect with nature as much as possible. But everything you're going through is what people with thyroid disease normally experience.